So equilibriums. First thing is the proof of the equilibriums because we trade what we know, right? So given the first universal truth of the three scenarios, which I'm going to explain that before this section in the video that I'm going to make, but given the universal truth of the three scenarios, we know price has to go inside. And they're referred to as equilibriums once they have closed trading. So if it's still open, we say it's presently inside, but it could still become a 2 and then potentially become a 3. And then we already know once a 3, always a 3, right? So an equilibrium is defined as like stillness or a contraction in range. So once price has formed an equilibrium, we say this is where buyers and sellers have agreed on price. So when this goes inside bar, buyers and sellers agree. They trade higher, they think it's supposed to be worth more, and then they agree on price. Therefore, we know price will either trend, fail to trend, or the buyers and sellers will agree on what the price currently is. And you can see we have multiple equilibriums. They break the equilibrium up here, breaking it down here, breaking it down here, breaking it down here. So they kind of point you to our buyers and sellers agreeing, and then once they start disagreeing, that's when you want to know about it, when that equilibrium breaks. So we can use this to our advantage because we can identify when an equilibrium has closed, and we can also identify that the equilibrium is very important to future price action because it has to become a 2 afterwards. I'm going to add that in there. If that equilibrium break fails or breaks, said that wrong. So if that equilibrium breaks or fails a break of either the high or the low, that's when we look to take action. So on the break and the failure, which means if you're trading an inside bar break like gold miners today, and that starts going 60s back down, trade the failure of the break too to make your money back or to take it both ways. And you'll see in here, the marked bar shows an example of a failure of an equilibrium break. And this failure is stronger than a normal breakout. We're going to see this. Goes inside bar equilibrium, trades higher, fails and reclaims the equilibrium, then takes the other side. So it failed trend and became 3, 1, 3. Now, if an equilibrium is broken while a higher time frame is forming an equilibrium, so while it's presently inside on a higher time frame, that break is more likely to fail and less likely to cause major price movements if you're nowhere near breaking that higher time frame equilibrium. Does that make sense? So if an equilibrium is broken while a higher time frame is forming an equilibrium or is presently inside, you could say, that break is more likely to fail, less likely to cause large movements if we're nowhere near taking out that higher time frame inside bar. Say it's more likely to fail and become a 3. So when we say the failure is actually stronger than the initial break, what we mean is we can prove that it's a stronger participation on the failure of the breakout. And that's because a failure of a break or a failure of trend means the initial move was countered by a more aggressive participant. So in this example of the outside 4-hour that we saw above, you're going to see the first 60 minutes of that day tried to break higher, and they broke the equilibrium up on the 4-hour. There was still an inside day, so that actually made the 4-hour more likely to fail. That second 60 then negated the break by doing a 2-2 reversal, and this causes that outside 4-hour. So you can see the 2-2 occurs back into the equilibrium, and then that causes the outside bar and takes out the PMG below this. So given this knowledge, we can identify the consolidation, know when it has closed, and know when the equilibrium is being broken, and also know when the equilibrium is failing, which is the most important part. When you know they are failing, that is where you want to definitely participate.